Tape www.vidéo au Sénégal.com. À école au Sénégal, c'est facile, tu n'as qu'à te connecter. Tape école au Sénégal, les leçons sont beaucoup plus.
Un objet. Voyez quelque chose, you'll be thinking, so using an object. For example, a dark cloud settled, a dark, take note de l'objet là, a dark cloud settled, se reposer. Settled, ça means, you know, on se repose ou bien on est là quelque part. Settled over the house, en dessous de la maison, after dad moved. A dark cloud, c'est-à-dire dad moved. Peut-être il y a eu un divorce, peut-être il y a eu une séparation, peut-être papa est parti. D'un coup, la maison est restée. There was a dark cloud. Dark cloud, cloud, c'est nuage. Un nuage, il était sombre. C'est pour t'expliquer la nature de la famille soudainement quand papa est parti. That gives you an idea that tout était calme, les choses ne marchaient pas, you know, tout le monde était triste, tout le monde pleurait, tout le monde sûrement était dans son coin, parce qu'on a dit que quoi? Il y avait un dark cloud. Dark cloud, c'est un nuage sombre. So there's a dark cloud. So you see that it's an object, the object is a dark cloud, and it's representing what? Is representing the sadness of the house. The moodiness of the house, the gloominess of the house, the doom nature of the house. Okay? So that's what it represents. So symbolism, you take something and then you look, for example, you can say, oh, look at her face, she's just radiant. I just see a ray of sun when you smile. A ray of sun when you smile. On ne voit pas les rayons de soleil quand on sourit, mais c'est juste pour dire que la personne est gaie, la personne est contente, la personne est voilà, en paix en soi-même, la personne, voilà. So that's a symbolism, the ray of sun. It means you look at the person, it tells you, oh, that person is very, very happy. That person is in a peaceful place, a happy place. So symbolism takes an object, like I said, to represent something else. It takes an object and explains to you so you can get the underlining of it. That's symbolism. A metaphor. Please take note about a metaphor. It's called metaphor. PH en anglais, ça se prononce comme un F. So it's a metaphor, but it's a PH, comme pharmacie, PH. So it's F. So a metaphor. A metaphor is similar, it's almost like a simile. A metaphor. It's just that with simile, like I said, you use like or as. But with a metaphor, you're comparing two things that share one attribute. Two things, deux choses qui partagent même attribut. Two things qui partagent même, il y a même lien entre eux. That shares one attribute. Stating one thing to be the other. Auquel une chose montre qu'il y a quelque chose. Stating that one thing to be the other. For example, he has a heart of stone. Il n'y a pas de as dedans, like simile. Tu vois? On a comparé deux choses. On est en train de montrer, mais on n'a pas mis. Here is, she's as beautiful, she's as busy as a bee. But here they said, he has a heart of stone. Heart of stone, ça signifie quoi? C'est pas que le cœur est fait des cailloux. C'est simplement parce que la personne soit est très très dure. On dit quelqu'un est dur de caractère. He has a heart of stone. Quelqu'un qui dit facilement oui. Quelqu'un quand il décide, il ne change pas facilement. It's a heart of stone. So you're comparing two things, but that has one attribute. He has a heart of stone. Sometimes you can say he has a heart of gold. Sometimes you hear, oh, he has a heart of gold. Ça signifie quelqu'un qui est gentil, quelqu'un qui est généreux, quelqu'un qui aime beaucoup aider. It's a heart of gold. He has a heart of gold. And the opposite of heart of gold is a heart of stone. Quelqu'un qui est dur, quelqu'un qui est sévère, quelqu'un des fois qui est pingre, stingy, hard, severe, strict, tough. That's a heart of stone. Quelqu'un qui change, qui ne change pas facilement. S'il dit non, if the person says no, it's a no. If the person says yes, it's a yes. Will hardly ever change. It's a heart of stone. So you see, you've compared two things that share one attribute without using, sans utiliser comme, without using like or as. You know. Then the next one will be, you are a ray of sunshine. Or you are a breath of fresh air. A ray of sunshine. It's so happy to be around you. If somebody says, oh, you're such a ray of sunshine, ça signifie que c'est tellement bien d'être, you know, in your midst avec toi. It's like a ray of sunshine. Tu apportes tellement la paix, je m'amuse, je suis confortable, je suis à l'aise. It's a ray of sunshine. Oh, you're a breath of fresh air. Breath of fresh air. Simplement que si la personne est là, la personne semble t'aider and all that, qui allège, va faire des choses un peu plus qui enlève un peu de vos soucis. It's a breath of fresh air. Someone says you're a breath of fresh air, it means you're so nice to be around. It's so good to have you around. That person takes out your problems. That person makes you to forget what you're going through, and you just laugh and laugh and laugh. So you're a breath of fresh air. You see, that's another one, a breath of fresh air. That's a metaphor. You have not used as or like, but you're comparing two things that share one attribute. You're trying to express. Then we go to allusions. Allusions. 3 syllables. Allusions. It's making comparison to another work or a character. So you're saying something, and oftentimes they're famous, like famous works, famous characters. That's allusion. When you're trying to say something, but you're using some quotes of famous works, of famous characters, of famous scenes, and you're talking. For example, that guy right there, John is the Romeo, to my Juliet. We know Romeo and Juliet of Shakespeare. So maybe you have a Juliet, maybe you have a daughter or whatever it is, you say, oh, he's the Romeo to my Juliet. Une façon de dire que, c'est le copain, c'est le fiancé, c'est l'amant de Juliette or de whatever it is. So that's an allusion. And you're quoting famous characters, famous work, famous people, famous quotes, because everybody knows Romeo and Juliet. They're famous, they're popular. Or you always want the forbidden fruit. You always want the forbidden fruit. Forbidden fruit, le fruit qu'on est censé pas. On connaît le fruit qu'on n'est pas censé manger dans la Bible, de Adam et Ève. Ça parle d'Adam et Ève dans la Bible. So you always want the forbidden. Ça pour dire que peut-être la personne est toujours en train de vouloir quelque chose qui n'est pas censé avoir, qui n'est pas censé faire, qui n'est pas censé y aller. Et tout le temps, c'est la même chose. But you always want the forbidden fruit. Ça pour dire que tu es toujours en train de faire quelque chose ou vouloir quelque chose qui est contre ce que tu es censé. That's a forbidden fruit. So, and we know the forbidden fruit, it's a popular story about Adam and Eve dans la Bible, and the apple, not to eat the apple. It's just a way of telling someone, si vous connaissez quelqu'un, or if you know someone that is always wanting something that he's not supposed to, always wanting to go somewhere that he's not supposed to, or something that you're not, normally, you don't have to do it, but yet you still want to do it. So it's the forbidden fruit. You always want the forbidden fruit. Quelque chose que tu n'es pas censé. What is a person? It comes from person, quelqu'un. Personification. What does that tell you? It's giving human-like attributes to non-human attributes. C'est simple. Quelque chose qui n'est pas vraiment les attributs d'un être humain, qu'on le prend et on met ça sur les choses qui sont pas être humain quoi. So you're giving human-like attributes to non-human things. For example, the sun, le soleil, greeted me this morning. Le soleil m'a salué ce matin. Comment le soleil te salue ce matin? Tu vois qu'on a appris les attributs d'un être humain, quand un être humain te salue. Greet, c'est saluer. Dis bonjour. Alors, on est sorti ce matin, le soleil a dit bonjour Aïssa. So that's not possible. So the sun greeted me this morning. C'est une façon juste de dire qu'il faisait beau. Voilà. So it was sunny outside. It was beautiful, and all that this morning. The sun greeted me this morning. The radio suddenly stopped singing. La radio soudainement s'est arrêtée de chanter. La radio chantait. C'est-à-dire vraiment, l'appareil chantait. So the radio suddenly stopped singing. Whereas she should have said, the radio suddenly stopped working. Parce que, voilà, work, ça signifie que ça fonctionne bien. But you said the radio suddenly stopped singing. And we know that singing is an attribute of a human, that we sing, on chante. That's to tell you that la radio, c'est arrêter de chanter, arrêter de parler, arrêter de fonctionner, en fait. So those are personifications that you use to take human-like and put them in non-human attributes. Okay? So these are our figurative language. I hope that it has helped you. At least now we have about 7 of them, and I told you about 9. But these 7 are really, really important. So that if you see them and you use them, or if you have a passage, une régression à faire, you can easily pick out if it's a hyperbole, si ça a été exagéré, if it's a simile, si on a utilisé as, like if it's a metaphor, qu'on a comparé 2 choses, mais sans nécessairement utiliser like or as, if it's an allusion, si on a cité quelque chose avec something fameux, you know, a famous character, a famous work also. If it's an item qui est juste figurative, you know, qui nécessairement pas littéraire, mais qui, you know, but that you understand it, that it makes a point. Is this symbolism that we take a symbol, we take an object and then it represents totally something? Or if it's personification, you're using a human attribute to give to an inanimate object, to an inanimate, you know, attributes to it. So these are examples, and I'm sure there are many more. I hope that you will learn from it, and I hope that it helps. Okay, right here I have some examples. You know, some examples that we can work on. I have some examples that we can, you know, work on as far as figurative language. You look like $1,000,000. You look like. Tu ressembles à $1,000,000. $1,000,000, you know, you don't look like $1,000,000. What does that tell you? When somebody says, oh la la, oh my God, you look like $1,000,000. It's simple. It means you look very beautiful. You look beautiful. You look like an angel. You know, it's another one. You look like something the cat dragged into. You know, you look funny. You look like you've seen a ghost. You look terrified. Terrified. Or you feel with fear. Or you look you're scared. You look like death warmed you up. You know, you look like death warmed you up. You look like an old mop, non-attractive. I'll give you some examples. You look like a spring morning. You look like spring morning or morning spring. You look fresh and healthy. See? You look like something that got dragged into. You look sick or you look ill. You look like an angel, could also be that you look beautiful, whichever. You like an angel. You look beautiful. So these are some examples. Like if you want to, you say, oh la la, you look like an angel. You look like $1,000,000. You know, you like an old mop. An old mop, c'est non-attractive. Mop, c'est serpillère. A mop is serpillère. Okay. So these are some examples, and I'm going to put also one example so you'll be able to exercise with them and try to use them as much as you can. I hope that the figurative language, as far as your writing is concerned, that it helps you. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.